My new girlfriend met her ex-fiance for closure while I was recovering in the hospital. Fake names, some details changed, etc. I have been dating a sweet woman named Nat for roughly 3 months. We hit it off really well, very puppy love, L-word after a month, that kind of thing. Her last relationship was with her ex-fiance, Tim. I know this is a biased opinion, but the guy sounds like a real douchebag. My girlfriend is a genuine, kind-hearted, and loving person. She met this guy through her church, which hosted some sort of adult speed dating for Christians event, and this guy no one in her church knew showed up and was quite the charmer. He took Nat on a couple dates and she said he was very loving and complimenting, very sweet talker. He proposed after 6 months, but whenever she tried to talk wedding details he'd be elusive and want to talk about it when they made more money. He didn't want to talk about colors or groomsmen or anything. After another 6 months she found out he was cheating. He apologized and begged her to take him back, that he'd never do it again. She gave him another chance. After about another 6 months not only did she catch him cheating again, she found out he had never really stopped, that he was seeing multiple women throughout their entire relationship, and the thing that made her the most upset is after going through his text messages, it was clear as soon as the day after she caught him cheating the first time he was still texting multiple women for hookups like nothing happened. She broke things off and stopped dating for about a year. She wasn't seeking anything out, we just happened to meet at her job. She works at a vet's office and I had been bringing my dog often for a health issue, and we eventually hit it off. Last week I was going for a run when I was struck by a car, honestly, my fault, it was night, I was dressed in clothes that were too dark, kinda came out of nowhere. It was pretty bad, I was intubated and in the ICU for a couple days with a chest tube. I recovered pretty quickly, but it was a little scary the first day. Anyway, sorry for the backstory, but feel it's important for context. I found out that while I was in the hospital, the ex-fiance reached out to my GF. He said he had heard about my accident through Facebook, and wanted to let her know I was in his prayers. She's deconstructed from her Christianity at this point, but whatever. He wanted to use the opportunity to apologize for what he did to her, and that if she needed anything, or if I needed anything, to let him know. He asked if she wanted to meet for coffee just to catch up. She mentioned that there was a Starbucks near the hospital, and they made plans to meet before visiting hours, so she could get coffee with him and then visit me after. My GF is gorgeous and sweet but a bit naive. Honestly, I feel like Tim targeted her for this reason. She always sees the good in people, never has anything unkind to say. Does things for anybody without expecting anything in return. So she meets Tim and of course he makes a pass at her. It was clear he was trying to use the fact that she was emotional about my accident to try to manipulate her, but she's gained some confidence since they were together and didn't go for it. He tried to kiss her, yeah, in the Starbucks, tell her she was even more beautiful than before, and what really pisses me off, after she refused his advances he said that I wasn't going to be able to please her sexually after my accident, and that while she should stay with me for emotional needs, he could satisfy her sexually with no strings attached on the side. That really upset her, so she got up to leave and he called her a fucking prude bitch. The dude is a psychopath. Anyway, the problem is that she was talking to me about this whole episode, she showed me the texts while explaining the whole thing, I kind of got uneasy, I'm insecure, and asked why she met with him in the first place. She said she wanted to hear him out because he was so apologetic, and wanted to give him a chance to apologize in person. She said she thought it would give her closure. I asked why she even needed closure, this guy was a grade A asshole, even before the coffee. She admitted that she knows it's dumb, but she still has feelings for him, that she knows it's stupid but she's still in love with the guy she thought he was, and that it's hard for her to move on, she had imagined a future together, kids, etc. I had a hard time with this, and asked if she still loved him, and she said the same thing about how she loved the person she thought he was, not the real him. So, all that to get to the conflict. I was having major aforementioned insecurity issues, guys. I looked like a car wreck, I was hit by a fucking car, and was feeling very second best and settled for. I asked her if she met up with him that morning, and it turned out to be that he had changed, that he wasn't an asshole, maybe didn't come on so strong, that he had become the man she thought he was. Would she have broken things off with me and tried to patch things up with him? It was probably an unfair question. She's been honest about how much he hurt her, how she struggled to get over him. I mean, I sort of knew the answer. But Nat, being honest with her heart, with a degree of shame and guilt, said that, yes, she would have probably tried to work things out. I was devastated. The fact that this crap happened like a day after I was intubated, like literal life support, just blew my mind. I said I felt pretty shitty knowing she'd leave me for some asshole that cheated on her twice. She said it wasn't like that, that they were together for 2 years, yes, she rounded up, and while she loved me she had a long history with him. She said there was no point to this, that guy doesn't exist, she only wants me. We didn't really fight, but she started crying and I caved and comforted her and apologized. But it's really messing with my head. I feel bad for her and that this asshole messed with her so much, but it almost makes me more upset that she'd still pick him over me. I love this woman and appreciate that she was truthful about all this, but I'm having a really hard time resolving these emotions. How can I get past this? I don't want to blow this great thing I have with her, but my insecurity issues are in hyperdrive right now. Sorry for the length of this post, it's still pretty raw. Edit. Thanks for the responses. I feel I should clarify the part where I asked her if she would work things out with Tim if he'd become the man she thought she loved. This is my bad. I did a bad job of summarizing this part of the discussion we had. By the time I asked her that, we'd already gone back and forth for a bit, with her saying multiple times, but that guy can never exist. The guy I'm stuck on has never cheated on me, never wanted to cheat on me, and was never that person in the first place. I kept challenging her on this, like, what if he just cheated twice but wasn't seeing people on the side, or what if didn't cheat but just broke up with you twice? Honestly, I think the question I really needed answered was, are you going to leave me when the right guy comes along? And I honestly think her answer would have been no. By the time we got to me asking if he had changed, would she have worked things out, we had arrived at a hypothetical version of him I honestly lost track of. Like, if he was someone who cheated twice, but somehow became the guy she first met. I mean, I'm having a hard time keeping track of where that conversation went. I wouldn't be surprised if she did, too. She says that she'll never meet with him again and that she's sorry she did, that she wouldn't have done anything, and that when he did make a pass at her saying he'd changed she turned him down outright. I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling and my thoughts are almost incoherent. I got a concussion which I'm not sure is playing a factor here, but I'm sort of just lost right now. Anyway, on reading the initial responses I realized I didn't paint a fair picture and wanted to give more context. Comment. Now you're the one grappling with the image of her and reality. At best, she settled for you. If worse, you're a placeholder until he improves or a safe space she can continue the relationship from. She's in love with the idea of being in love and in love with the idealized version of him. And you're in love with the idealized version of her. Sometimes desperate and insecure people stay together forever, not sure if it's healthy. But you need to decide if that's what you want. Are you together because you really are compatible or because you're desperate for love? She wanted him to have changed. If magic had happened, you would be convalescing as a single man again. She is trauma bonded to this prolapsed anus of a human and he will have a sway over her for years to come. She is not as naive as you believe. She was hedging bets. A relationship with only a part of a person will always fail. I think you're giving her way too much credit by trying to excuse this with she's just too sweet and naive for her own good. If she's having this much trouble letting go of the idea of Tim, or simply saying no to suspicious offers of charity from people with a history of treating her poorly, she needs to be on her own while she sorts that out. Yeah, he's infantilizing them both way too much. She's not some naive little child that doesn't know any better and is being taken advantage of by a grown man, and he's not some fragile little insecure boy who's letting his insecurity get in the way of a great relationship. She's still in love with someone else and has boundary issues, and he is having normal emotions after finding out that someone he thought was in love with him is actually still in love with her ex and would leave him in a heartbeat if the ex changed into the person she wants him to be. I'm not convinced he didn't say the right things. She is now pondering what she can get from him on the side, at least subconsciously, and the fact she met up with him so easy the first time means she will meet up with him again when he apologizes. Seriously. If my boyfriend decided to meet up with his ex-wife for closure while I was on life support in the ICU, I would be livid, and this relationship would be over. Clearly, this woman doesn't want OP. She didn't even stand by his side while he was in the hospital and admits she's still in love with the ex. OP, seriously, find someone who will love you and stand by your side through like that. I don't think it's unfair at all. You two both seem to have been under the impression that this relationship was building to something serious, and she met her ex with the intention of potentially leaving him for you. I would say that's borderline cheating, if not outright cheating. She lied when she said she went there for closure. She went because the door was still open and she wanted to see if it was worth walking through. The only reason she's still with you is because he's still an asshole. Her being honest in the end was good, but that's about all that's good about it. I'd walk away. It sounds like she has a pattern of jumping into things too quickly, with him and now again with you, and that's a sign of underlying issues she needs to work through. If you stay with her, this will always echo in your head and make you worry that no matter how secure you feel, there's always a chance her heart isn't fully in it.